know that at this Jurassic Zoo birthday party, we like to turn and learn our ingredients because we are all savvy skintellectuals. Today I'm gonna spill the tea, or coffee, on why I'm no longer using hyaluronic acid in my routine and what this has to do with Dr. Shireen Idris as well as my dear Dr. Dre. You see, hyaluronic acid is a wonderful molecule that everyone speaks about being hydrating and nourishing to skin. But what does hyaluronic acid actually do? And as someone who has used hyaluronic acid regularly in my routine, I have some literal favorites that I've used throughout the year. And this summer is when I stopped having them in my routine. And today we're gonna talk about that. If you've been on this channel for any amount of time, you've heard of hyaluronic acid before. If you haven't, then welcome. Feel free to join the party. We have a bunch of fun. It's more like a zoo than a party because of the swear words and the animal noises, but subscribe and you'll see what I'm talking about. Hyaluronic acid is also abbreviated as HA, and a lot of cosmetic companies like to tout hyaluronic acid as this miracle molecule that holds up to 1,000 times its weight in water. And while that can be true under some very controlled circumstances, it isn't always true. Usually hyaluronic acid can hold anywhere from 50 to maybe 100 times its weight in water, and depending on where it grabs onto that moisture and holds it also depends on the actual size of the molecule. You see, there are different weights or sizes of hyaluronic acid, and those that are smaller can penetrate deeper, those that are larger give more surface hydration. But here's the catch. Hyaluronic acid, being a humectant, holds onto moisture, but where does it get that moisture from? We've spoken about this in videos before, but yes, if you are in an arid, dry, desert-like climate where there's little to no humidity, that hyaluronic acid that is being applied is going to suck moisture from the closest place it can get it, aka the moisture, the water that's in your skin. Whereas if you live in a humid, tropical sort of climate, or if you use a humidifier in your bedroom, oh baby, that hyaluronic acid can suck it right up. Because of this, hyaluronic acid is usually best when paired with humid environments or an occlusive moisturizer. Dr. Shireen Idris did an excellent video about hyaluronic acid, and she brought out this wonderful book and spoke about how in all of the research and in most of the actual medical or scientific literature, hyaluronic acid is used along with an occlusive, meaning some sort of a barrier that doesn't allow this moisture to escape. So for example, you're in a humid environment, you have something moist like a toner or an essence on the skin, then you put on a hyaluronic acid and then you seal it in with something like Vaseline or petrolatum jelly. And that's the first reason that I stopped using hyaluronic acid, was because I'm an oily bitch and it was summer. I absolutely love occlusive moisturizers in the evening, but during the summer it was just a little bit too much, especially where I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's been getting hotter and hotter each year, which global warming is getting harder and harder for the flat earthers to deny. But during the summer, I wasn't slugging. I do have a Versed eye balm that I was using as kind of like a retinoid for slugging, but I just wasn't enjoying it during the summer. And along with my Ole Henriksen moisturizer, I just decided to stop with the occlusives. Now, I could use this under my Ole Henriksen moisturizer, and I have enjoyed doing that with some products, such as this one that has seaweed. Amazing. I've enjoyed that very much. However, that brings me to my next point about hyaluronic acid. It's half-life. You see, when we look at hyaluronic acid, we have to understand what this molecule is and what it does. It is what's called a glycosaminoglycan. Now try saying that 5 times fast, but it's basically a sugary type of molecule. Hyaluronic acid is created by our own bodies. It's found in our joints, in our connective tissue, in our eyes, and yes, in our skin. It's also essential in wound healing, which is why if you do have an open wound or if you picked a pimple, it's a great idea to add some hyaluronic acid. But the thing about hyaluronic acid is that it is different when it's created by and in our bodies versus applied topically to the skin. And this specifically comes down to the half-life of these molecules. When I say the half-life of hyaluronic acid, what exactly does half-life mean? Certain words or terms may come to mind like Chernobyl or radioactive decay. And yes, the half-life of different molecules or radioactive elements is used in a lot of nuclear physics as well as in carbon dating. For instance, how we figure out how long the Earth has been around and how many dinosaurs used to crawl over the place that you are currently living. But the half-life is basically taking a specific amount of something and looking at how much time it takes for that to be reduced by half. And of course, with a reduction of the thing usually comes with a reduction of the efficacy or the potency, especially when we're talking about skincare. Now that isn't always true, but for the sake of understanding this and how it works in our routines, we're gonna go with that. Now hyaluronic acid, when created by our bodies, especially in the skin, specifically has a half-life of around 12 to 24 hours, which means by the time our fibroblasts, these special little cells, create this hyaluronic acid, 12 to 24 hours later, half of it is gone. And that's deep inside of our skin where it's hard for the sun to shine. Now, what happens if we have that topically on the skin, exposed to the sun and the wind and the air and all of the other things, including our occlusive moisturizer? It's hard to find super conclusive data and numbers for this, but hyaluronic acid, when applied topically usually has a half-life from 6 to 8, maybe up to 10 hours. This means 6 to 8 to 10 hours, half of that hyaluronic acid has been utilized by the skin or neutralized by these free radicals and the damage from the sun or the environment. And if you really want to get the most plumping, glowing, dewy hydration from your hyaluronic acid, that means you're going to have to reapply 2 to 3 times a day. And who wants to do that? Now, of course, there are ways to extend that. So again, using your hyaluronic acid alongside other products or making sure that you have the right molecular weight of hyaluronic acid. And this is why historically I've always applied my hyaluronic acid at night. You can use hyaluronic acid during the day. It's a very agreeable little ingredient, so it plays very well with almost anything in a skincare routine. But for at night, I'm sleeping 6, hopefully 8 hours. And during that amount of time that I'm sleeping, it allows my skin to utilize hyaluronic acid. And I could use it underneath that occlusive barrier, and so that's what worked for me. But again, because of that, again, it's still a wonderful molecule. It still does great things. And again, the half-life doesn't mean it's completely gone. But I was just like, is this really something I need a dedicated step in my routine for? And that's where we get to the third reason that I stopped using hyaluronic acid, is that it is in almost everything. You know that at this Jurassic Zoo birthday party, we like to turn and learn our ingredients because we are all savvy skintellectuals. And when you do turn and learn your ingredients, if you literally pick up almost any product, you're probably going to see hyaluronic acid or a form of hyaluronic acid in there. It may be labeled as sodium hyaluronate, hyaluronic acid, or hydrolyzed hyaluronic acid. It's in a lot of different things, from our green tea essence toners, to our exfoliating serums, to our hydration peptide night moisturizers, and even our recovery masks. And because of that, I'm like, do I really need a dedicated step in my routine to be applying hyaluronic acid when I'm actually getting quite a good amount that's already blended in and formulated into the other steps of my routine? Dr. Dre also did a great video on hyaluronic acid. I'd recommend watching both hers and Dr. Shreen Aegis's if you want a little bit more about the science of these things. And again, they are wonderful, wonderful, both products and ingredients. As you can see, I have freaking loved a lot of these. We've actually done a video on the best and worst hyaluronic acid products when I tried and tested a whole bunch of them that literally took the course of almost a year. And yes, hyaluronic acid, when used correctly and in the right environment, it is plumping to the skin. It can give you a glow. It can make your skin more hydrated. It does help exfoliation happen more smoothly. It does diminish fine lines and wrinkles. And for that reason, keep freaking using it. But for me and for my routine, I've decided to take out a dedicated step of this for now. Now, how is this going to impact my skin? Well, I will say I have this little forehead line that weirdly has been like popping up, and I don't know if it's because I stopped with the hyaluronic acid in my routine, or if I'm just noticing it more now, or if something happened over the summer, because I did get one really bad sunburn. But like, did I do something that's causing that to be more visible? I'm definitely going to be up in my retinoid and my sunscreen, but I'm like, is this related to the hyaluronic acid? Like now I'm, noticing it more. And I would say it was like mid to late August or September when I took the hyaluronic acid step out. So now, I'm still monitoring. I'm still looking. I'm seeing what's going on, but I'm also like, hey, you, what is going on here? Maybe I'm just being hypercritical, but tell me about your experience with hyaluronic acid. There are some great ones out there, and for the right humid or the right person, it is excellent. And it's still in some of the products that are in my routine, so I'm still getting a little bit of it, just not a dedicated step. How do you feel about hyaluronic acid? Do you love it? Do you hate it? What is your sentiment? And make sure that you stay to the end of the video for a special fancy meme, as well as the description box for extra goodies, not including cookies, but yes, including the ingredients it takes to bake cookies, as well as some skincare sales. And this beautiful butterfly necklace that our Discord community Patreon members got me for my birthday one year, and I simply love it, and I wear it all the freaking time. So make sure to stay hydrated with your skincare drama-free tea, aka caffeine. Make sure that you reapply that SPF as it is your BFF, and always be beautiful both inside and out. I love you, and I cannot wait to see you in this next video where we talk about the 15 best and worst hyaluronic acids, as well as a video on how and why hyaluronic acid can dry some people out. Love you guys. Bye.